This is one thing that just cracks me up from these hee haw, yeah, guys. It's like, be the 1%. Like, dude, just wake up on time. Like, just wake up on time. Everyone's trying to be the 1%. Like, dude, be the 1%er. Do this, do that. This hee haw energy. I'm like, bro, you didn't even wake up on time. You be midnight snacking. You have 6 hours of Netflix a day. You be eating out, door dashing 5 times a week. What do you mean be the 1%? You just got to reduce your DoorDash bill. You got to wake up on time. You got to stop snacking. You got to start eating whole foods. Like, don't worry about being the 1%. You got a long ways to go and to truly be the 1%, not just looking amongst your cul-de-sac neighborhood of all the other fat dads and losers who ain't doing shit. Like, you might be the 1% amongst them, but you're not the 1%. Get out of that mindset. That mindset is going to lead you to failure because your day-to-day actions cannot align with those who are in the 1% until you start creating and building momentum in your life. Like, think about being the 1% in a decade. That's a much more realistic expectation that is in touch with reality. If I want to be the 1%, I do all that, blah, 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 and I can't even do the basics well. I can't even wake up to my alarm clock. I can't even social media detox. I can't not have my phone for a weekend. I watch 10 hours of Netflix a week. Snacking all the time. When we were talking about being the 1%, like, well, you be it for 3 days. To be a 1%, to be truly elite in something, and I know Twitter, that they really be misjudging this. Like, they're like, a 500-pound deadlift is heavy and it makes you the 1%. But there's like dudes who weigh 140 pounds who deadlift over 500 pounds. And it's deadlift over 500 pounds. And it's just the expectations, like, to set yourself into reality of what people are actually doing out there. Like, when you start surrounding yourself with savages, you start to realize that, some people be beaten to a different drum. Like, some people really got it going on. So it's easy for you to think you do a couple things right and your head gets real swelled and your ego loves it. Like, I'm the 1%. I'm like, no, do it for a decade. Do it for a decade. Then you can start talking about what it looks like to be the 1%. You got to have realistic expectations. You got to come in with a sense of reality. So if I was trying to progress my life, which I consistently am, it looks nothing like me saying, I'm going to be the 1%. I'm running ultra marathons right now. Like, a couple of years ago, I got into running Ironmans. Okay, I'll do an Ironman. Like, I'm in good shape. I'll figure it out. I'll get in really good endurance shape and enough to get through one. So I did, but I wasn't the 1% Ironman. Like, my wife, I got to the finish line. My wife's like, man, babe, I'm so used to seeing you win all these strongman competitions and powerlifting competitions. And here at this race, there's like 100 people who came in before you over the age of 60. Man, I ain't trying to be the 1%. I can't even beat the old people, man. It's gonna take some time. I gotta come in with a sense of reality. And when I started running these ultra marathons too, that's the next thing for me. I was like, I'm not even gonna say I'm gonna run 100 miles. An ultra marathon's anything more than a marathon, 26.4, whatever it is, 26.2. So I was like, okay, like an ultra marathon, then like there's some 50Ks, which is 31 miles. I was like, I'll be running some of these. I'm gonna get some of these knocked off my belt, and then I'm gonna try to snag a 50, and then maybe a 75, 100K, 63, whatever it is. Yeah. I'll do that. And this has been multiple years. This is 2021. It's 2024. I might not run 100 miles till 2025, 2026. I got in touch with reality. Could I have ran it maybe faster? Yeah, if I put all my eggs in that basket, but that's not good for me, my health and relationships and my career. Some of y'all are talking about being the 1%, and the ego is so inflated, and you're going to be this and be that, but you can't even do the basics well for a decade. Bogus, man. You're being lied to. You're being sold on the flashy thing, and as you get sold on the flashy thing, it's leaving you susceptible to failure. Like, this is another thing. Like, I'm not ever inspired by people's transformations. to this point where now, like, I just get bored of seeing them. Like, oh, he lost 50, 100 pounds. I'm like, great, check back in a year. Because I see so many people lose weight and just put it right back on again. And the formula to losing weight is pretty easy. Move more, eat less. Everybody can lose weight. It's move more, eat less. And you'll all have roadblocks on your way to get there. And not that it's not going to be challenging. And maybe I should even change my tune a little bit. It's pretty inspiring when I see people lose weight. But it's not nearly as inspiring as the individual who loses the 50 pounds and keeps it off year after year, decade after decade. They make it a lifestyle. But see, that's not sexy. Like, it's not sexy for me to be like, oh yeah, I've been in fitness since I've been 12 years old, and it's literally become a lifestyle on me. People are like, well, it's just what you do. So I'm like, dude, I'm met with the same grogginess in the morning as you're met with, and the same temptations to eat out as you're tempted to, and the same temptations to eat snacks as you. Like, I'm in the same boat, actually. I'm in the same boat. I'm just making different decisions, and I've chose to make those decisions over the last almost 2 decades. So it's different whenever you can lose the weight and keep it off, or live a whole life healthy, a healthy lifestyle your whole life. I think that is just crazy inspiring when I see a guy be doing this for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. That's the 1%er. The 1%er is not the one who does real good for 6 months or a year. The 1%er is the one who keeps going, who keeps doing the basics well, who gets super content and uncomfortable. It's not about being comfortable in the uncomfortable. I'm not comfortable when I'm uncomfortable. It's an oxymoron. I'm content though. I'm at rest, and this is what it is. This is what I chose. And it's not about making healthy food choices for a week or a month or 6 months while you're on your fad diet. It's about choosing to make healthy decisions and choices for the rest of your days. It's becoming the individual. You no longer have to be someone who has a transformation. You've become the individual who had the transformation and who has adopted a healthy lifestyle for the rest of his life. So no more of this, I want to be the 1%er. Like, be the guy who wakes up on time. Be the guy who chooses to not snack. Be the guy who chooses to eat whole foods. You have to come into the sense of reality. Get in touch with what your life looks like. Become the person that doesn't watch the Netflix all day, every day. Become the individual who doesn't have a high DoorDash bill. Like, come into a sense of reality before you're saying, I want to be the 1%. Leave away these bogus hype. They're almost like fat burners to me, these type of catchphrases and words. It's almost like losing belly fat. It's all bogus. It's like, man, become that dude who wakes up on time. Become that dude who gets really good at doing the mundane. Become that individual who chooses to live that healthy lifestyle. Become the individual who's a good father. What does your day-to-day actions look like? And you compound that over a decade, you ain't got to say you're the 1%. It just is. It's reality. You ain't got to talk about it. People just know. Sending you love today. Hard love. Peace.